On New Year's Eve, a message with my face popped up on my SIL's phone. He begged me not to ask. The fireworks hadn't even started when my own face lit up someone else's screen. I remember the exact second. 11:47 p.m. The room was loud, glittering, alive with countdown energy, and yet all I could hear was the sound of my sister-in-law's phone vibrating against the glass coffee table. And then I saw it. A message notification, with my picture. Not a family photo, not a tagged memory, a photo of me, taken from somewhere I didn't recognize. And when I looked up at him, my husband's brother, he didn't look confused. He looked terrified, and he begged me not to ask. New Year's Eve at my in-laws' house had always been sacred. Ever since I married into the family, it became a tradition. We'd gather at my mother-in-law's place, eat too much biryani, argue over board games, and wait for midnight like it meant something bigger than just another date on the calendar. This year felt different, though. Not in an obvious way. Just heavier. My husband, Hamza, had been distant for weeks. Not cold, not cruel, just distracted. The kind of distracted that makes you question yourself. The kind that makes you lie awake at night replaying conversations, wondering where the shift happened. Still, I trusted him. I trusted all of them. That's the thing about family, you don't look for cracks in walls you believe are solid. My sister-in-law, Ariba, and I were close. Closer than most sisters-in-law ever become. She was the one who helped me pick my wedding dress. The one who held my hand when I miscarried 2 years ago. The one who whispered, "You're not alone in this house," when grief turned every room silent. Her husband, Samir, had always been the quiet type. Observant, reserved, but kind. He'd fix things around the house without being asked. Bring my favorite dessert from that bakery across town. Call me, Baji, with respect that felt genuine. There was trust there, or at least, I thought there was. That night, the house smelled like cardamom and perfume. Music played softly in the background. Laughter bounced off the walls. I was standing near the window, watching the neighbors test early fireworks, when I noticed Samir step away from the group. He had Ariba's phone in his hand. That wasn't strange. They often shared devices, but his body language was. His shoulders were tense, his jaw tight. The phone buzzed. Once, twice. He froze. And that's when I saw it. The screen lit up in the reflection of the glass table. My face. A close-up photo. Not from social media. Not from a family event. It was me sitting in my car. Alone. I felt the air leave my lungs. Before I could process it, he quickly turned the screen away. But not before our eyes met. There's a specific kind of eye contact that changes everything. It's not guilt. Not exactly. It's fear of being exposed. "Everything okay?" I asked, keeping my tone light. Too light. He walked toward me immediately, almost blocking my view from the rest of the room. "Please," he said quietly. "Not tonight." My heart started pounding in my ears. "Not tonight what?" He swallowed. I watched his throat move. His fingers tightened around the phone. "Don't ask. I'll explain. Just, not tonight." Behind him, Ariba was laughing at something my mother-in-law said. Completely unaware. Or maybe not. That thought slipped in so subtly I almost ignored it. I've always trusted my instincts. That night, they were screaming. But I smiled. I nodded. I stepped back. "Okay," I whispered. He looked relieved. Too relieved. And I hated that I agreed. For the next hour, I tried to act normal. I poured drinks. I helped set out dessert. I laughed when everyone counted down from 10. But something had shifted. Every time Samir moved, I noticed. Every time Ariba checked her phone, I watched. She didn't seem anxious, but she avoided looking at me. Or maybe I imagined that. Midnight arrived. Fireworks exploded outside. Everyone hugged. Hamza kissed my forehead like he always did. "Happy New Year," he said softly. I searched his eyes for something, anything, that would calm the storm rising inside me. But there was a flicker there. A flicker I couldn't name. At 12:19 a.m., while everyone was busy taking photos, I stepped into the hallway. I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe it was a spam message. Maybe someone created a fake account with my picture. Maybe there was a logical explanation. I just needed to see it again. As if summoned by my thoughts, Samir appeared at the end of the hallway. He looked exhausted. I said, "I'll explain," he murmured. "Explain what?" My voice was steadier now. Quieter. dangerous in a way I didn't recognize in myself. He hesitated, and in that hesitation, 1,000 memories replayed in my mind. The times he offered to drop me home when Hamza worked late. The time he insisted on fixing the camera in our driveway. The random moments he'd ask where I was going, casually, as if making conversation. Details I never questioned, until now. It's complicated, he said. No, I replied, it's simple. I saw my face on that phone. Why? His eyes flickered toward the living room. Then back to me. It's not what you think. That sentence. The one people use when it's exactly what you think. A door creaked behind us. Ariba stepped into the hallway. She looked between us, and for the first time since I've known her, she didn't look like my sister. She looked like someone choosing a side. What's going on? She asked. Her voice was calm, too calm. Samir inhaled sharply. She saw the message. Ariba's face drained of color. Not surprise, recognition. And that's when I knew. Whatever this was, it wasn't new. My chest tightened. Tell me, I whispered. Right now. Ariba walked toward us slowly. Each step deliberate. She reached for the phone in Samir's hand. He resisted for half a second. Half a second too long. When she finally held it, she didn't look at the screen. She looked at me. Tears gathered in her eyes. Please, she said softly. Let's not do this tonight. The same words, the same plea, as if midnight had a deadline for truth. I felt something inside me crack, not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet fracture of trust. Do what? I asked. Silence filled the hallway. Fireworks exploded again outside, bright flashes bleeding through the curtains. And then, the phone buzzed. All three of us looked down. Another message, from the same unknown contact. My photo filled the screen once more. But this time, there were words underneath it. A sentence. And before either of them could stop me, I reached out and read it. The world didn't end. No one screamed. No glass shattered. But in that narrow hallway, as the clock ticked into a brand new year, I realized something far worse than betrayal was unfolding. Because the message wasn't from a stranger. It was from someone inside this house. And the words weren't about me. They were about what was going to happen next. On New Year's Eve, a message with my face popped up on my SIL's phone. He begged me not to ask. The message said, she still doesn't know. Tell her after midnight. Let her have one last peaceful year. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. The hallway felt smaller. The walls closer. Fireworks outside burst into the sky, but inside me, everything went silent. She still doesn't know. Know what? I looked up slowly. Ariba's tears spilled over first. Samir looked like a man who had been carrying a weight too heavy for too long. Tell me, I said. This time, I didn't whisper. Ariba held the phone against her chest like it was fragile. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, she said. That's not an answer. My voice sounded unfamiliar, steady, controlled, almost detached. Like I was watching someone else's life unravel. Samir ran a hand through his hair. The messages, they started months ago. From who? Neither of them spoke. The silence stretched, and then Ariba finally said it. From your doctor. I blinked. My doctor. She nodded. The one you've been seeing for the headaches. The fatigue. The fainting spells. I felt the ground tilt. I had been seeing him alone. Hamza said he trusted me to handle appointments myself. He'd been busy with work. So why, I asked carefully, is my doctor messaging you? Ariba's lips trembled. Because you weren't answering his calls anymore. My stomach dropped. I changed my number 2 months ago, I said. I told the clinic. Samir looked at Ariba. Ariba looked at the floor. That's the problem, she whispered. The fireworks outside faded into distant echoes. Midnight joy turned into quiet conversations in the living room. Someone laughed. Someone poured tea. Life continued, but mine stood still. What aren't you telling me? I asked. Ariba inhaled slowly, like she was about to dive underwater. 3 months ago, she began, you fainted at my house. Remember? Of course I remembered. I had blamed dehydration, stress. You left your bag in the guest room. Your phone kept ringing. I thought it might be important. She swallowed. It was the clinic. They said your test results were urgent. I stared at her. And I panicked, she admitted. You've already been through so much. The miscarriage, the anxiety. I didn't want you to be alone if it was bad news. So you answered my phone. Her eyes filled again. Yes, I felt something sharp twist inside me. They wouldn't give details, she rushed to explain. So I told them I was family. They said the doctor would call back. Samir spoke softly. He did. I could barely hear him over the pounding in my ears. And, I asked again. Ariba's voice cracked. The test showed something abnormal. The hallway lights felt too bright. What kind of abnormal? She hesitated. Samir stepped in. They found a growth. The word hung between us. A growth. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just clinical. Controlled. My mind rejected it immediately. That's impossible, I said. He never told me that. Ariba shook her head. He tried. He said he'd been calling you for days. I remembered ignoring unknown numbers. Deleting voicemails without listening. I had convinced myself they were insurance agents. Telemarketers. Why didn't you tell me? My voice broke for the first time. Because we weren't sure, Ariba cried. He said more tests were needed. He didn't want to scare you until he confirmed. So you decided to scare yourselves instead. Her silence answered me. Samir finally unlocked the phone and handed it to me. Read everything, he said quietly. My hands trembled as I scrolled. Message after message. The doctor explaining the urgency. Asking if she had scheduled a follow-up MRI, saying time mattered. And then, a final message from earlier that evening. If she hasn't come in yet, she needs to. Please tell her after midnight. Let her enjoy tonight. I felt dizzy. Not betrayed. Not angry. Just small. All this time, I had been wondering if Hamza was distant because he didn't love me the same way anymore. All this time, I had been suspicious of glances and whispers. And meanwhile, they had been carrying something terrifying without me. Does Hamza know? I whispered. Ariba nodded slowly. That hurt more than anything else. He found out a week ago, she said. I couldn't keep it from him. My chest tightened. He didn't tell me. He wanted to, Samir said. But he was waiting for confirmation. He thought, maybe it would turn out to be nothing. The word nothing felt fragile. I leaned against the wall, trying to steady myself. Images flooded my mind. Hamza staring at me across the dinner table, lost in thought. Him holding me a little longer at night. The way he'd watch me when he thought I wasn't looking. Not distance. Fear. Footsteps approached. Hamza appeared at the end of the hallway. He looked from me to Ariba to Samir. And he knew. His face fell. You told her, he said softly. I saw the message, I replied. The space between us felt wider than it ever had. He walked toward me slowly, like I might shatter. I didn't want you to find out like this. How did you want me to find out? My voice wasn't angry, just tired. Next week, next month, he reached for my hands. They were cold. I was waiting for the final report, he said. The doctor thinks it might be benign. He just needs more imaging. Might. That word echoed louder than fireworks ever could. Tears slid down my cheeks before I realized I was crying. You all knew, I whispered. And you let me laugh tonight. Hamza's own eyes filled. Because we didn't want to take one more moment away from you until we were sure. The irony cut deep. They were trying to protect me. And yet I had never felt more exposed. In the living room, someone started playing music again. A cheerful New Year's song. The world didn't pause for private disasters. I looked at my husband. At least tell me the truth, I said. All of it, he nodded. The growth is small, he said carefully. It was caught early. The doctor said that's good. But you need to go in this week. No more ignoring calls. I let out a shaky breath. And if it's not benign? His silence answered me, but this time, it wasn't the silence of secrets. It was the silence of uncertainty. I wiped my tears and straightened. Okay, I said. 3 pairs of eyes looked at me in surprise. Okay, Ariba repeated. I'm going to the appointment, I said. And next time, you tell me. No matter what. Ariba nodded through tears. Samir looked relieved. Hamza pulled me into his arms. For a moment, I let myself lean into him. Not because I wasn't scared, but because I finally understood the distance I'd been feeling wasn't betrayal. It was fear of losing me. Outside, the last firework burst against the dark sky. A new year had begun. Not with laughter, not with betrayal, but with truth. And as I stood there in that hallway, fragile, uncertain, terrified, I realized something strange. The message that had shattered my night had also saved it. Because now, whatever was coming next, I wouldn't be facing it alone.